What is positivism? Positivism is the view that the only authentic knowledge is scientific or positive knowledge. Positive here means a posteriori facts, derived by reason and logic from sensory experience. As such, it rejects and considers meaningless a priori ways of knowing, religious faith, and metaphysical speculations. Positivism was developed in the mid-19th century by the French sociologist and philosopher, Auguste Comte. It then went through several stages known by various names, such as empiriocriticism, logical positivism, and logical empiricism, finally merging in the mid-20th century into analytic philosophy. The term positivism comes from the French positivism, derived from positive, which has several meanings, such as imposed on the mind by experience, objective, and certain. Main ideas and principles. There are two basic affirmations in positivism. 1. All knowledge regarding matters of fact is based on the positive data of experience. And 2. Beyond the realm of fact is that of pure logic and pure mathematics. As mentioned earlier, positivists reject metaphysical speculations, or inquiries about the nature of reality that go beyond any possible evidence. They consider themselves as secular, or anti-metaphysical and anti-theological. They strictly adhere to the evidence provided only by experience and the scientific method. In addition to these affirmations, positivism also follows 5 main principles. 1. The logic of inquiry, or research, is the same across all sciences, both natural and social. Positivists believe in the unity of science. They argue that all knowledge is interconnected, and that there is no fundamental difference between the natural sciences, the social sciences, and the humanities. As such, they are convinced that the scientific method can be applied to all fields of inquiry, and that all knowledge can be acquired through empirical observation and experimentation. 2. The goal of inquiry is to discover and predict the necessary and sufficient conditions for any phenomenon. According to Comte, the task of the sciences, and of knowledge in general, is to study the facts and regularities of nature and society, and to formulate these regularities as descriptive laws. 3. Inquiry should be empirically observable with human senses, and should use inductive logic to develop statements that can be tested. Positivists adhere to the concept of falsifiability, that is, that scientific theories must be falsifiable, or capable of being tested and potentially disproved. This means that scientific theories must be open to criticism, and that they must be able to withstand attempts to disprove them. If a theory is not falsifiable, then positivists do not consider it scientific. 4. Science should be judged by logic, and should be as objective as possible. Its ultimate goal is to produce knowledge, regardless of values, morals, politics, etc. Another important concept in positivism is the distinction between facts and values. Positivists argue that facts are objective and thus can be observed and measured, while values are subjective and cannot be objectively verified. They believe that scientific knowledge should be based on facts, rather than on values, meaning that scientific theories must be based on empirical evidence, rather than on personal beliefs or biases. And 5. Science is not the same as common sense, and researchers must be careful not to let common sense bias their inquiry. 2 types of positivism. In the following 2 sections, we will talk about 2 of the many types of positivism: the social positivism of Auguste Comte, and logical positivism. Comte's social positivism. Comte's positivism was postulated in his account of the evolution of society. Following the general law of 3 stages, he argued that society undergoes 3 phases in its search for the truth. These 3 stages were the theological, the metaphysical, and the positive. In the theological stage, natural phenomena are explained as the result of supernatural powers. Regardless of the religion, divine powers were believed to cause natural events. Comte, however, rejected these explanations as primitive projections of unverifiable entities. In the metaphysical stage, natural events are assumed to be caused by impersonal powers, vital forces, or entelechies, or internal perfecting principles. Again, Comte rejected these explanations, claiming that questions concerning ultimate reality and first causes are unanswerable. In the positive or scientific stage, the same natural events are explained using science. Science does this by studying the facts and regularities of nature and society, and formulating these regularities as descriptive laws. According to Comte, humankind reached full maturity of thought, only after abandoning the theological and metaphysical stages and adhering to science. This idea of intellectual progress was central to Comte's new science, sociology, which, according to him, is the queen of all the social sciences, as it is able to do more than what the other social sciences could. Logical positivism. Logical positivism, later and more accurately called logical empiricism, is a philosophical school that combines empiricism, the idea that observational evidence is indispensable for knowledge of the world, with a version of rationalism, or the idea that our knowledge includes a component that is not derived from observation. Logical positivism grew from the discussions of a group called the Vienna Circle before World War I. Some of its doctrines can be found in the 1929 pamphlet written by Otto Neurath, Hans Hahn, and Rudolf Carnap. These included 1. The opposition to all metaphysics, especially ontology and synthetic a priori propositions. 2. The rejection of metaphysics not as wrong, but as meaningless, that is, not empirically verifiable. 3. A criterion of meaning based on Ludwig Wittgenstein's early work, which he himself later refuted. 4. The idea that all knowledge should be codifiable in a single standard language of science. And above all 5. The project of rational reconstruction, in which ordinary language concepts were replaced by more precise equivalents in that standard language. The project, however, is widely considered to have failed. But when Rudolf Carnap moved to the United States, he proposed a replacement for the earlier doctrines. This change of direction, and the differing beliefs of some members of the circle, led to a consensus that the English name for the shared doctrinal platform should be logical empiricism. Criticisms. Positivism has been criticized for its reductionism, or for claiming that all natural processes are reducible to physiological, physical, or chemical events, while all social processes are reducible to actions of, and relationships between individuals. Other critics, such as Wilhelm Dilthey, fought against the positivist claim that only explanations derived from science are valid. Dilthey reaffirmed the Italian philosopher Giambattista Vico's argument that scientific explanations do not reach the inner nature of phenomena, and that it is humanistic knowledge that gives us insight into thoughts, feelings, and desires. Several religious and philosophical thinkers also criticize positivism, stating that, yes, truth begins in sense experience, but it doesn't end there. According to them, positivism fails to prove that there are no abstract ideas, laws, and principles beyond observable facts, or that we cannot know them. Nor does it prove that material things constitute the whole order of existing beings, and that our knowledge is limited to them. If you like our content, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our channel for more videos. Thank you, and see you in our next one.